Rahul loved exploring old places. He always thought there was something special hidden in forgotten corners of the city. On a quiet morning, he decided to walk through the abandoned streets near the old docks. The sun was just rising, casting a soft orange light over the cracked pavements. The air smelled faintly of salt from the river, mixed with dust and old metal. Rahul enjoyed the calm of the early morning. Most people slept at this hour, and he liked having the streets all to himself. As he walked, something shiny caught his eye behind a rusty gate. It looked like the shape of a car. Curious, he stepped closer. Through the dirt and grime, he could see the smooth curves of a classic Aston Martin DB5. It was covered in dust, and the tires were flat, but Rahul could tell it had once been a beautiful car. Its silver paint was faded, but it still reflected the light of the morning in soft glimmers. He had never seen such a car abandoned in the middle of a city. A small sign hung from the windshield. It was old and torn, but the letters were clear: "For sale, owner unknown." Rahul frowned. How could such a car be left here with no one to claim it? He carefully pushed open the rusty gate. It squeaked loudly, echoing through the empty street. Rahul's heart beat faster as he approached the car. He ran his hand along the dusty hood. The metal felt cold, but it was solid, and there was no rust in the bodywork. Rahul tried the driver's door. It opened easily, as if it had been waiting for him. The interior was covered in a layer of dust. The leather seats had cracks, and the wooden dashboard had faded, but the steering wheel was intact. The smell inside was a mix of old leather and time. Rahul carefully sat in the driver's seat and imagined driving it down a long, empty road with the wind in his hair. He had always loved cars, but he had never owned anything like this. He pulled out his phone and called a local agent. Within hours, the ownership papers were arranged, and the car officially belonged to him. Rahul could hardly believe it. He had found an abandoned Aston Martin DB5 and made it his own. The agent told him that the previous owner could not be located and that the car had been sitting here for years. Rahul felt lucky, but he also felt a strange sense of mystery. Why had such a beautiful car been left alone for so long? The next morning, Rahul returned to the car with cleaning supplies and tools. He wanted to make sure it was ready for use. As he wiped away the thick layer of dust from the hood, he noticed a small scratch on the paint near the passenger door. It looked like someone had tried to open the door from the inside at some point. Rahul bent down and examined the area. He saw that the scratch led to a tiny seam in the floorboard. Curiosity filled him. He reached inside and pressed a small hidden latch. The seat lifted slightly, revealing a small leather envelope tucked underneath. Rahul's hands shook slightly as he picked up the envelope. It was old and brittle, but the writing on it was clear. 3 words were written in neat handwriting: "Read me first." He felt a mix of fear and excitement. Who had left this for him, and why? Carefully, he opened the envelope. Inside were several photographs, a small key, and a folded piece of paper. The photographs showed the same car in different locations. In the background of each photo were strange markings, numbers, letters, and symbols that Rahul could not understand immediately. The folded paper had a short message written in careful handwriting. It said, "The car is more than it seems. Protect it. Follow the clues. Trust no one fully." Rahul stared at the words. He had never expected an abandoned car to come with a secret. The key was small and golden, and it fit perfectly into a tiny lock on the glove compartment. Inside, Rahul found another small envelope. This one contained a map with a route marked in red ink and a series of numbers that looked like a code. Rahul realized that this car was part of something bigger. It had belonged to someone important, someone who had wanted to hide something valuable. His imagination ran wild. Maybe it was a treasure, or a secret document, or even something from a spy. The thought made his heart race. Rahul knew he could not ignore this. He decided to follow the clues carefully, one step at a time. He made a copy of the photographs, the map, and the numbers. He wanted to study them before he did anything else. Over the next few hours, Rahul cleaned the car more thoroughly. He polished the silver paint, vacuumed the seats, and checked the engine. Surprisingly, the engine was in excellent condition. He turned the key, and it started with a smooth, powerful roar. The sound made him smile. He had always dreamed of owning a car that felt this alive. But now, it was not just a car. It was a puzzle, a mystery waiting to be solved. Rahul felt a new sense of purpose. He spent the evening studying the photographs and the map. The red line on the map led to different locations around the city, and the numbers seemed to match landmarks in the photographs. Rahul realized that whoever had left these clues had wanted someone clever to find them. He also noticed that the photographs were taken years apart, showing that the car had been moved from place to place carefully. Whoever had owned it had planned everything in advance. Rahul sat in the car that night, imagining the adventures it had been part of. He thought about the previous owner and wondered why they had left it all behind. He felt a mix of excitement and responsibility. This was not just about owning a car anymore. This was about discovering a secret, protecting it, and understanding the story behind it. Rahul decided that he would follow the map and solve the mystery, no matter where it led him. The city lights reflected on the polished surface of the Aston Martin as Rahul made his decision. He felt ready for whatever lay ahead. He knew that this car had chosen him, or perhaps it was the other way around. Either way, the adventure had begun, and Rahul could not wait to see what secrets the car would reveal. The next morning, Rahul woke up early, feeling a mixture of excitement and nervousness. He had decided to follow the map from the hidden envelope in the Aston Martin. He packed a small bag with water, snacks, a notebook, a camera, and his phone. He also made sure the car was ready. The Aston Martin DB5 gleamed in the sunlight, its polished silver body reflecting the city around it. Rahul felt a strange connection to the car, as if it were encouraging him to begin the journey. He studied the map one last time. The red line led to an old warehouse near the river. The numbers on the map seemed to indicate a building, a floor, and a room number, but Rahul could not be completely sure. He took a deep breath and started the engine. The car roared smoothly as it moved onto the empty streets. Rahul felt his heart race. He had never been on an adventure like this before. He knew it would be different from anything he had done in his life. The city was waking up as he drove. Morning traffic was light, and the streets were quiet. Rahul followed the map closely, noting every landmark and number that matched the photographs. He passed old buildings, small shops, and narrow alleyways. Every now and then, he looked at the photographs again. The red marks on the photos seemed to match the corners of windows, doors, and walls. It was like the previous owner had left a trail, waiting for someone clever to follow it. After an hour, Rahul reached the warehouse. It looked abandoned, with broken windows and rusted metal doors. The air smelled of old wood and dust. He parked the car carefully and stepped out, feeling a chill run down his spine. The warehouse was silent, but he noticed small signs that something had been here recently. Footprints in the dust and a faint smell of oil. Rahul pulled out the photographs and compared them with the building. One photo showed the warehouse with a small mark near a corner window. Rahul walked toward the window and examined it. He found a small latch hidden under a metal plate. His hands trembled slightly as he opened the latch. Behind it was a narrow staircase leading down into darkness. Rahul hesitated for a moment. The thought of what could be waiting below made him nervous, but his curiosity was stronger than his fear. He turned on his phone flashlight and carefully descended the stairs. The air became colder as he moved down, and the walls were covered in dust and cobwebs. Every step echoed through the empty space, making him feel even more aware of the silence. At the bottom of the stairs, Rahul entered a small room. It was simple, with bare walls and a concrete floor. In the center of the room was a metal box. It looked old but sturdy. On the lid of the box was a keyhole. Rahul smiled as he remembered the small golden key from the glove compartment of the Aston Martin. He inserted it into the keyhole and turned it. The lock clicked open, and Rahul lifted the lid carefully. Inside the box were several items neatly arranged. There were stacks of old documents, a few photographs, and a small, black leather notebook. Rahul took out the notebook and opened it. The handwriting was neat and careful, and it told a story. The notebook belonged to the previous owner of the car, a man who had worked as an agent for a secret organization. The pages described missions, locations, and people, but there were also personal notes about the car. Rahul learned that the Aston Martin had been used to carry important information safely across cities. The car was not just a vehicle, it was a mobile safe. Rahul read each page carefully. Some pages mentioned hidden compartments and secret codes, similar to the ones he had already discovered. The previous owner had planned everything with extreme caution. Rahul realized that the numbers on the photographs were part of a security code, and the map was a guide to retrieve items hidden in safe locations. The more he read, the more he understood how valuable the car and its secrets were. Suddenly, Rahul heard a noise behind him. He turned quickly, but the room was empty. He thought it might be the wind or the creaking of the old building, but his heart was racing. He decided to focus on the notebook. It contained a list of locations with dates and symbols, some of which matched the markings he had seen on the map. Rahul realized he had only uncovered the beginning of the mystery. There were more clues hidden in other places, and the car was the key to finding them. Rahul spent hours in the warehouse, studying the documents and photographing the important pages. He wanted to make sure he had a record of everything in case anything happened to the originals. As he prepared to leave, he noticed a small envelope at the bottom of the box. Inside it was a note: "Trust only the car. Follow it, and it will guide you." Rahul smiled. The car had truly been designed as a guide, a trusted companion for someone who could solve the puzzle. He climbed back up the stairs carefully, carrying the box and the notebook. When he reached the surface, the sunlight felt warmer, and the city seemed different. The warehouse had been quiet and mysterious, but outside, everything looked ordinary. Rahul carried the box to the Aston Martin and placed it in the trunk. He knew he had to be careful. The contents of the box were valuable, and he could not let anyone else find them. As Rahul drove away, he noticed the way the car seemed to handle differently. It was smoother, almost like it knew where it needed to go. He followed the next location on the map, which led to a small cafe in the old part of the city. The numbers on the map corresponded to a table near the window. Rahul sat there, pretending to drink coffee, while he studied the photographs again. Each image had a detail he had missed before: a small mark on a building, a shadow, a reflection. The car and the map had given him the first part of the puzzle, but now it was his task to follow the rest carefully. Hours passed, and Rahul realized he was beginning to understand the system. The previous owner had designed everything to be secure, but also to reward someone patient and intelligent. Rahul felt proud. He was not only following the clues, he was thinking like the agent who had hidden them. He understood that the car was not just transportation. It was a partner, a guide, and a protector of secrets. By the evening, Rahul had returned home. He placed the documents and the notebook in a safe place, but he could not stop thinking about the next clue. The adventure was only beginning. The Aston Martin gleamed under the streetlights, and Rahul felt a strange sense of anticipation. He knew the next part of the journey would reveal more secrets and more challenges. For the first time in his life, he felt truly part of something exciting, something that required courage, intelligence, and care. Rahul went to bed that night thinking about the map, the photographs, and the words in the notebook. He was ready for the next step. He knew the car and the clues would continue to guide him, but he also realized that this journey would test him in ways he had never imagined. The excitement and mystery made it impossible to sleep. He closed his eyes, imagining the paths he would follow, the secrets he would uncover, and the adventure that was just beginning. Rahul woke up early the next day, feeling more determined than ever. The Aston Martin DB5 gleamed in the morning sun, and he ran his hand along the smooth silver hood. The car seemed to hum under his touch, almost as if it knew it had a mission to complete. Rahul carefully reviewed the notebook he had found in the warehouse. The pages contained codes, sketches, and hints about the car's hidden compartments. Some of the codes were numbers, others were symbols, and a few were letters that seemed to form words. Rahul realized that to move forward, he had to solve the first real puzzle. He started with the photographs he had taken the day before. One photo showed the car parked near a fountain, but in the background, there was a small shadow on the wall with numbers written on it. Rahul compared the numbers to the code in the notebook. After several minutes, he noticed a pattern. The numbers were not random, they corresponded to letters in the alphabet. For example, the number 3 meant the letter C, and the number 26 meant Z. Rahul smiled. This was the first code, and it was designed to test his patience and attention to detail. Using a notebook and pen, Rahul wrote down the letters he had decoded. Slowly, a word appeared, trunk. Rahul's eyes widened. It was simple, but clever. The first clue led him to a hidden compartment in the trunk of the Aston Martin. He ran to the car, lifted the trunk, and examined it carefully. He noticed a small seam near the back corner, which he had not seen before. Rahul pressed along the seam, and a small panel slid open. Inside was a black metal box, smaller than the one in the warehouse, but just as secure. Rahul carefully opened the box. Inside were several items, a set of old coins, a tiny notebook, and a folded piece of paper. The coins looked rare, and the notebook contained more handwritten notes. The paper had a simple message: the next location is where the city sleeps but the river never rests. Rahul frowned slightly. It was vague, but he had an idea. The river ran through the city, and there were a few old docks that were mostly empty at night. He decided to start there. After packing the items in a small bag, Rahul drove the Aston Martin toward the river. The engine purred smoothly as he followed the streets he had never noticed before. The city was quieter during the early hours, and the sunlight reflected off the water in sparkling patterns. Rahul parked near an old dock and got out of the car. The docks were empty, except for a few seagulls flying above. He examined the area carefully, looking for anything unusual. Near the edge of the dock, he noticed a small metal grate, partially hidden under a pile of old ropes. It was rusted but movable. Rahul lifted it carefully and discovered a narrow staircase leading down into darkness. The air smelled of water and damp wood. He turned on his phone flashlight and slowly descended the stairs. At the bottom, he found a small room carved into the dock. The walls were lined with metal shelves, and there was a safe in the corner. Rahul felt his heart beat faster. The adventure was becoming real, and he could feel the excitement building. Rahul examined the safe. There was a combination lock with 3 dials. He remembered the small notebook from the trunk. The notes contained hints about numbers and sequences. After a few minutes of careful observation, he realized that the numbers on the old coins matched the dials. With trembling hands, he set the combination and turned the lock. It clicked open. Inside were several envelopes, each labeled with a different letter. Rahul picked up the first envelope. Inside was a map, smaller than the one he had found in the warehouse. This map showed a section of the city he had never explored before. Red lines marked specific points, and symbols indicated buildings, doors, and windows. Rahul also found a small note: follow the red lines, and the car will guide you. He realized the Aston Martin was not only a vehicle but a companion. The car had been designed to carry clues safely and direct the person who could understand them. Rahul placed the envelopes in his bag and climbed back to the surface. The sunlight reflected off the water, and he felt the cool breeze on his face. The city seemed ordinary, but he knew it held secrets hidden from everyone else. He returned to the Aston Martin and drove to the first location marked on the new map. As he approached, he noticed details he had not seen before. Small scratches on the walls, faint marks near windows, and tiny numbers etched into corners. Each detail matched a photograph he had seen earlier. Rahul smiled. The previous owner had been careful, and now he was careful too. The first building was old but sturdy. Rahul parked the car and approached a small door at the side. He noticed a small keyhole near the handle. Remembering the tiny golden key he had found earlier, he tried it, and the door opened easily. Inside, the building was empty except for a wooden crate in the center. Rahul examined the crate and found it locked. There was no combination or keyhole, but the photographs provided a hint. One picture showed the crate with a shadow falling across a corner. Rahul noticed the same shadow in the room. He pressed the corner, and a hidden panel slid open, revealing another small box. Inside the box was a collection of letters, handwritten and carefully folded. The letters seemed personal, describing missions and places the previous owner had visited. Some letters mentioned people who had helped him, and others described dangers he had faced. Rahul realized he was reading a private story, a diary hidden in pieces across the city. It was incredible to think that such personal and valuable information had been left for someone to find. Rahul spent hours studying the letters, photographs, and coins. He noticed patterns connecting the locations, numbers, and objects. Each item led to the next like a carefully planned journey. He felt as if the previous owner had prepared this adventure for someone who could understand it. Rahul realized that this was more than a mystery. It was a test of intelligence, patience, and observation. Every clue required careful thought and attention to detail. By the evening, Rahul returned to his apartment. He placed the letters and coins in a safe place. He cleaned the car carefully, polishing the metal and leather. The Aston Martin seemed to glow in the soft light, as if it were aware of the progress he had made. Rahul sat in the driver's seat and thought about the journey so far. He had unlocked the first code, discovered hidden compartments, and followed the map to secret locations. But he knew this was only the beginning. Before going to bed, Rahul reviewed the photographs, notes, and map again. He realized that each location was part of a larger network, and the clues were meant to prepare him for something important. The car was more than transportation. It was a guide, protector, and companion. Rahul felt a sense of pride and excitement. He had never imagined his life could be this thrilling. Tomorrow, he would continue following the map, unlocking more secrets, and discovering the true purpose of the Aston Martin DB5. As he closed his eyes that night, Rahul could not stop thinking about the car, the hidden rooms, the codes, and the letters. The city was full of secrets, and he had only begun to uncover them. The adventure was far from over, and he was ready for whatever challenge came next. He knew that the Aston Martin had chosen him for this journey, and he was determined to follow it to the end. The next morning, Rahul woke up with a sense of urgency. The mystery of the Aston Martin DB5 was becoming more intense. Each clue he uncovered made him feel both excitement and responsibility. He knew that the car was not just a vehicle. It was a key to something important, and someone had trusted him to follow the path carefully. He packed his bag with the letters, coins, maps, and the notebook. The golden key rested in his pocket. Today, he felt certain that he would uncover one of the most important secrets hidden in the car itself. Rahul started the engine, and the Aston Martin responded immediately. The car's smooth roar filled the quiet street. As he drove, he studied the new map he had found in the warehouse. The red lines led to another old building near the city outskirts. According to the photographs and notes, this location had been used by the previous owner to store his most valuable possessions temporarily. Rahul felt a thrill run through him. Every step was leading him closer to understanding why this car had been abandoned and why he had been chosen to follow the trail. When he arrived, the building looked abandoned and worn. Windows were broken, and the paint was peeling, but Rahul noticed the details that matched the photographs exactly. A small door at the back led to a narrow staircase, just like before. He climbed down slowly, careful not to make noise. The air smelled damp and old, with hints of metal and wood. At the bottom, Rahul found a room with a large metal trunk. The trunk was reinforced and had a complex locking system. He smiled as he remembered the golden key and the patterns in the notebook. This trunk, he realized, held something extremely important. Rahul examined the lock carefully. It had a series of symbols that matched the letters and numbers from the first code. He adjusted the dials according to the sequence in the notebook. His hands shook slightly as he turned the final dial. With a soft click, the lock opened. Inside the trunk were several envelopes, each carefully sealed. Among them, one was marked differently. It was thicker and heavier than the rest. Rahul carefully opened it and found a small metal object wrapped in cloth. He unfolded it to reveal a compact device, sleek and shiny, like something from the future. Rahul examined the device closely. It had buttons, small screens, and tiny compartments. Alongside it was a note. Handle with care. This device carries information that cannot fall into the wrong hands. The car will guide you on how to use it. Rahul's heart raced. He had expected letters, coins, or maps, but not a device. The Aston Martin had been more than a guide, it had been a protector of high-level secrets. Rahul felt a sense of responsibility unlike anything he had felt before. He returned to the car and placed the device carefully on the passenger seat. As he started the engine, he noticed a small compartment he had not seen before, hidden under the center console. It had a latch that seemed to respond to the device itself. Rahul pressed a button on the device, and the latch opened with a soft click. Inside was another envelope. Rahul opened it and found a series of instructions and a small piece of paper with a code. The instructions explained how the device could read hidden messages in the photographs he had collected. The code was required to unlock the first message. Rahul took a deep breath. This was unlike anything he had ever done. He followed the instructions carefully, placing the photographs under a small scanner in the device. As he entered the code, a message appeared on the small screen. It was from the previous owner, written years before. The message read, "If you are reading this, you have proven your intelligence and patience. The car has chosen you. The items you discover next are crucial. Protect them and use them wisely. Trust only the car and your instincts." Rahul felt a chill run through him. The previous owner had planned this adventure in detail, preparing for someone capable enough to follow it. Rahul spent hours using the device to read hidden messages. Each message contained information about secret locations, contacts, and instructions on protecting the items he had found. The Aston Martin itself was part of the system. It had hidden compartments, specialized keys, and coded sections designed to store valuable items. Rahul realized that every compartment, every secret in the car, had been designed to work with the device. The combination of the car, the device, and the maps formed a complete system of protection and guidance. As the sun began to set, Rahul noticed movement outside the building. Shadows shifted in the alley, and he felt a sudden sense of caution. Someone was watching. He quickly packed the device and the letters, and he started the Aston Martin. The car roared to life, its engine loud enough to make the approaching figures hesitate. Rahul drove carefully but swiftly through the narrow streets, aware that someone might be following him. The city lights reflected off the silver body, and the sleek design of the car made it both fast and silent in the right moments. He parked near a familiar street and checked the rearview mirror. No one followed. Rahul realized the previous owner had warned him for a reason. The secrets he was uncovering were valuable, and not everyone would want them to remain hidden. He understood that from now on, he would have to be cautious. The city, which had seemed ordinary, now felt full of possibilities and hidden dangers. Rahul felt a mixture of excitement and vigilance. He was not just on an adventure, he was guarding something that could be very important. Rahul returned home that night and organized the items he had discovered. He placed the device in a secure bag and lined up the letters and coins. He studied the photographs again, comparing each one with the messages he had decoded. Every detail mattered. Every shadow, every number, every mark could be a clue to the next location. Rahul felt a sense of pride. He had uncovered the car's first true secret and discovered the device that would guide him further. The Aston Martin was no longer just a car, it was a mentor, a guardian, and a companion on this journey. Before going to bed, Rahul checked the trunk once more. The hidden compartments, the envelopes, and the letters reminded him that there was still much to uncover. The adventure was far from over. Tomorrow, he would follow the next set of instructions from the device. Each step seemed more complex than the last, but Rahul was ready. He had proven himself capable of patience, observation, and intelligence. The Aston Martin had chosen well, and Rahul felt determined to complete the journey. As he closed his eyes, Rahul imagined the road ahead. There were more secrets, more hidden compartments, and more challenges waiting for him. The car's polished silver body reflected his determination and courage. He knew that the adventure was not only about discovering the secrets but also about learning, understanding, and protecting what he had found. The city outside was quiet, but Rahul felt a pulse of excitement. The Aston Martin DB5, once abandoned, had now become the center of his life, and he was ready for the journey ahead. Rahul woke up early, his mind buzzing with excitement and determination. The Aston Martin DB5 stood gleaming in the morning sunlight, its silver body reflecting the streets around it. Today, he knew, he would uncover the ultimate secret hidden in the car. The device, the letters, the coins, and the maps had all led him to this moment. Rahul packed his bag carefully, making sure every item was secure, and placed the device on the passenger seat. He ran his hand along the hood of the car and smiled. The Aston Martin had been abandoned for years, but now it felt alive, like it was guiding him. He started the engine, and the smooth roar of the car filled the quiet street. Rahul studied the last instructions he had decoded from the device. They led to a secluded area near the outskirts of the city, a place Rahul had never visited before. The map indicated a small building at the edge of a forest. According to the device, this was the final location where the ultimate secret had been hidden. Rahul felt a thrill run through him. He had solved codes, unlocked compartments, and followed clues, but he knew the final discovery would be the most important. The drive was long, but the Aston Martin handled the narrow, winding roads easily. Rahul noticed that the car seemed to respond to his focus and concentration. It was as if it understood the urgency of the mission. As he approached the forest, he saw the small building in the distance. It was old but well-maintained, surrounded by tall trees. The shadows of the branches fell across the roof, creating a pattern that matched the final photograph in the collection. Rahul parked the car carefully and stepped out, feeling a mixture of excitement and caution. The building had a small, sturdy door. Rahul examined it closely and noticed a small slot near the handle. He inserted the golden key from the device, and the lock clicked open. Inside, the air smelled of old wood and stone. The room was empty except for a pedestal in the center. On the pedestal was a metal case, small and polished, with intricate engravings. Rahul felt his heart race. He had never seen anything like it. The engravings matched symbols he had seen in the notebook and photographs. This had to be the final secret. Rahul carefully lifted the lid of the metal case. Inside were several items neatly arranged, old documents, photographs, and a small, sealed envelope. The documents contained plans, maps, and information about the missions the previous owner had completed. The photographs showed places and people from years ago. But the envelope was different. It was thicker, heavier, and had a note attached. To the one who follows the path, this is your reward. Protect it, learn from it, and continue with integrity. Rahul's hands shook slightly as he opened the envelope. Inside the envelope was a small device, unlike anything he had seen before. It was sleek, metallic, and compact. Alongside it was a letter from the previous owner. The letter explained that the Aston Martin DB5 had been used to transport valuable information safely over the years. The final device contained all the remaining secrets the owner had safeguarded, including hidden locations, codes, and information that could be dangerous in the wrong hands. Rahul realized the magnitude of what he had found. He was now the guardian of these secrets, entrusted with a responsibility he had never imagined. Rahul carefully studied the device and letter. The letter also included instructions on how to use the device safely and securely. Each compartment in the car, each code, and each hidden envelope had been designed to work together. Rahul realized that the adventure was not just about solving puzzles but about understanding the importance of responsibility, trust, and patience. The previous owner had left this for someone capable, and Rahul had proven that he was worthy. After organizing the items in the metal case, Rahul returned to the Aston Martin. He placed the device and documents securely in the car's hidden compartments. The car seemed to respond to his careful handling, almost as if it understood the weight of the responsibility. Rahul knew he could not take the secrets lightly. He needed to protect them and follow the instructions in the letter to ensure that nothing was lost or stolen. The journey had taught him patience, observation, and focus. As Rahul drove back toward the city, he thought about everything he had discovered. The abandoned Aston Martin had led him on an incredible adventure, full of mystery, hidden clues, and secret compartments. Each step had been a test of his intelligence and perseverance. The car, once abandoned and forgotten, had become his guide and companion. Rahul smiled as he realized that the car's true value was not only in its design or its engine but in the lessons it had taught him and the secrets it had protected. Back in the city, Rahul parked the car carefully in his garage. He cleaned it one last time, polishing every curve and surface. The silver gleamed under the lights, and the leather seats looked smooth and strong. Rahul placed the metal case with the device and documents in a secure location. He sat in the driver's seat, reflecting on the journey. The adventure had been thrilling, but it had also taught him responsibility. He understood that some things were meant to be protected and respected, not just admired. Rahul reviewed all the letters, maps, and photographs one last time. Each clue, each hidden compartment, and each code had led to this final discovery. He felt proud of what he had accomplished. The Aston Martin had not only provided a journey of excitement and mystery, but had also guided him to learn patience, careful observation, and respect for the secrets entrusted to him. The car had chosen him, and he had proven worthy. That evening, Rahul sat in his living room, looking at the polished silver Aston Martin through the garage window. He thought about the previous owner and the careful planning that had gone into hiding the secrets. He realized that the car was more than a machine. It was a mentor, a companion, and a protector of knowledge. The adventure had changed him. He felt more confident, more aware, and more prepared for challenges that life could present. Rahul decided to follow the instructions in the letter carefully in the days ahead. He would protect the device, the documents, and the knowledge it contained. He knew that the city around him looked ordinary, but now he understood that extraordinary stories could hide in the most unexpected places. The abandoned Aston Martin DB5 had led him on an unforgettable journey of mystery, discovery, and responsibility. Rahul smiled, knowing that while the adventure had ended, the lessons and memories would last a lifetime. As night fell, Rahul turned off the lights in the garage. The car stood quietly, gleaming under the moonlight. The device, the letters, and the maps rested securely in their hidden compartments. Rahul felt a sense of peace and satisfaction. The journey had been long, challenging, and thrilling, but he had succeeded. The Aston Martin DB5, once forgotten, had become a symbol of trust, adventure, and wisdom. Rahul knew he would never forget this experience. It had changed his life forever.